Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Hong Kong unveils new security law and further repeal of liberties. China's rapid rise in potentially deadly fungal infection sparks calls for monitoring. China sees two bowls of poison in Biden and Trump and ponders who is the lesser of two evils. To attract world's best, Hong Kong universities must remain free and open. Can Pakistan's politicians break the military stranglehold? Hong Kong unveils new security law and further repeal of liberties. Nikkei Asia. The Hong Kong government has revealed details of a new security law aimed at closing loopholes in existing legislation. The law, which will undergo consultation until February 28, will criminalize offenses such as treason, the theft of state secrets, sabotage of public infrastructure, and external interference in domestic affairs. The legislation will also prohibit foreign political organizations from forming ties with local groups, and will likely include extraterritorial provisions. Critics argue that the law is broadly defined, making it difficult to predict what activities may be deemed criminal, and that it will further erode civil liberties. China's rapid rise in potentially deadly fungal infection sparks calls for monitoring. Bloomberg. A study led by researchers at Shanghai's Fudan University and Tongji University has identified a rapid rise in Candida auris infections in China. The study found 182 hospitalizations and outbreaks associated with the potentially fatal fungus in 2023, compared to 33 in 2022. The spread of Candida auris to at least 18 hospitals in 10 provinces has raised concerns due to difficulties in diagnosing and treating infections. Almost all of the strains tested in China were resistant to the drug fluconazole, and 2% to 4% could not be treated with caspofungin or amphotericin B. The researchers call for increased awareness of the emerging threat of Candida auris to public health. China sees two bowls of poison in Biden and Trump and ponders who is the lesser of two evils. Associated Press. China is concerned about the upcoming U.S. presidential election, as neither candidate is appealing to Beijing. Joe Biden has looked for areas of cooperation with China, but Beijing is worried about his efforts to unite allies in the Indo-Pacific against China, as well as his approach to Taiwan. Donald Trump, with his isolationist approach to foreign policy, may be more hesitant to defend Taiwan but could deepen the trade war with China. Analysts suggest that Beijing may find Biden the lesser of two evils due to his steadiness, but worry about his success in building partnerships to counter China. No matter who takes office, it will not change the overall direction of America's strategic competition with China, said Sun Qinghao, a fellow at the Center for International Security and Strategy at Tsinghua University. China doesn't have any preference for who will win the presidential election because China has experience dealing with either of them for 4 years. In China's social media, many commentators appear to be favoring Trump, whom they see as undermining American democracy and U.S. global leadership to the benefit of Beijing. To attract world's best, Hong Kong universities must remain free and open. SCMP opinion. Hong Kong's education sector is facing challenges that could hinder its ability to attract international students and scholars, according to Dr. Tik Chi Yuan, a legislative counselor in the Social Welfare Functional Constituency. He highlights 3 main challenges: the marginalization of student unions, interference with institutional autonomy, and a lack of transparency in implementing reforms. These issues could impact the academic freedom and attractiveness of Hong Kong's universities, leading to a decline in global rankings and the ability to attract global talent. Can Pakistan's politicians break the military stranglehold? Al Jazeera. As Pakistan gears up for its general election on February 8, concerns have been raised about the fairness of the polls. The military's influence over politics has resulted in a democracy where no prime minister has ever completed a 5-year tenure, but 3 out of 4 military dictators managed to rule for more than 9 years each. The military has a deep influence on politics in Pakistan and has ruled directly for more than 3 decades. Observers have expressed concerns about the fairness of the upcoming election, with the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI) party of former Prime Minister Imran Khan being denied its election symbol, many of its leaders being imprisoned, and several others in hiding. The military's dominance in Pakistan dates back to the war against India in 1948, just a year after independence, and the first military coup in 1958. Since then, the military has consistently received more budgetary resources than any other government department. The military's influence has led to a political configuration in Pakistan that some describe as establishmentarian democracy, where the political class is divided and civilian governments have been ineffective. While politicians in Pakistan often feel compelled to comply with the military's wishes to avoid consequences like imprisonment or assassinations, some argue that politicians themselves have been complicit in the military's hold on power and have even reached out to the military to unseat their opponents. To rectify the civilian-military imbalance in Pakistan, some argue that political leaders must commit to a system of fair elections and a coherent set of rules, while others say that military involvement is essential to solving the country's problems. Despite concerns about the credibility of the upcoming election, some analysts believe that an elected government is necessary to address the monumental challenges facing Pakistan. Legislative Roundup, January 30, 2024. Yahoo! Gun bills head to House. A couple of contentious gun control measures are headed to the House floor after winning approval Monday in the House Judiciary Committee. Southern deals Mississippi Valley State 23rd straight loss 78-54. Associated Press. Southern University defeated Mississippi Valley State in a college basketball game, with Tyrone Joseph scoring 18 points for the Jaguars. The loss marked the 23rd consecutive loss for the Delta Devils. Matt's Monday Mailbag, an early look into San Jose State football's 2024 slate. Yahoo! San Jose State University's, SJSU, football team is predicted to finish with a 4-8 record in the 2024 season. The team is expected to face many challenges, including replacing 9 players on offense, including the quarterback. The team is expected to defeat Sacramento State and Kennesaw State but lose to Washington State, Air Force, Colorado State, Fresno State, Boise State, Nevada, UNLV, Wyoming, and Oregon State. The team is expected to upset Stanford. SJSU's quarterback room is composed of Dorian Hale, Jay Butterfield, Trevor Voss, Walker Eggett, Anthony Garcia, and Alonzo Contreras. SJSU's new offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, Craig Stutzman, reports that Butterfield is excited to learn his offense. The team's new offensive line coach has not been officially announced. New Webb telescope images are mind-blowing even for researchers. The Independent. NASA has released images taken by the James Webb Space Telescope of 19 nearby galaxies in near and mid-infrared wavelengths, revealing stars, gas, and cosmic dust in mind-blowing detail. The images show bubble-like and filament structures within the galaxies, resolving down to the smallest scales ever observed. The data could help scientists understand the structure and formation of galaxies, as well as how they build, maintain, and shut off star formation. The images may also provide insights into the life cycles of stars and could indicate the presence of an active supermassive black hole. Brazil, facing calls for reparations, wrangles with its painful legacy of slavery. The Toronto Star. The executive manager for institutional relations at a Brazilian state bank took the microphone before roughly 150 people at a forum on slavery's legacy in his country, which kidnapped more Africans for forced labor than any other nation. What do Swifties and I have in common? Lust for revenge. The Sydney Morning Herald. The article discusses the recent deepfake video of Taylor Swift that went viral and the response from her fans, known as Swifties. The author highlights the speed and effectiveness of the Swifties in combating the spread of the video by flooding social media with real images of Swift tagged with Protect Taylor Swift. The author also calls for legislation and regulation to address the issue of deepfakes and revenge porn. They argue that doxing, revealing identifying details of individuals, can be justified in cases like this where personal information is being used to harass or harm others. The author concludes by emphasizing the need for digital tools to enact justice in the face of complex legal challenges. Auburn football to hire former Maryland coach DJ Durkin as defensive coordinator, reports. Yahoo! Auburn football coach Hugh Freeze is planning to hire DJ Durkin as defensive coordinator, according to multiple reports. Durkin was last seen at Ole Miss before serving as the defensive coordinator at Texas A&M. He was previously the head coach at Maryland, but was fired after allegations of a toxic culture and an investigation into the death of 19-year-old Jordan McNair. Durkin was placed on administrative leave for 80 days before returning to coach the Terrapins. Auburn also recently hired Ron Roberts as executive head coach and co-defensive coordinator, replacing Durkin. Tuesday's time schedule. Associated Press. The article provides a schedule of upcoming NBA and NHL games, as well as a list of top 25 men's and women's college basketball games. It includes the teams and times for each match. U.S. to receive gold medals in wake of figure skater Valieva's Olympic DQ. The Globe and Mail. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, has informed the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, Yusop, that their figure skating team will receive gold medals following the disqualification of Russian skater Kamila Valieva for doping at the 2022 Winter Games in Beijing. The IOC stated that they are now in a position to award the medals in accordance with the ranking, which will be established by the International Skating Union. The USOP confirmed that CEO Sarah Hirschland received the news that the American team has been declared the winners. At trendy Japanese cafes, customers enjoy cuddling with pigs. Associated Press. Pig cafes have become the latest trend in Japan, with customers paying $15 for 30 minutes in the company of the animals. The cafes, which feature miniature pigs, have become popular tourist attractions and are known for their relaxing and enjoyable atmosphere. The pigs are clean, odorless, and well-trained, making them great companions. However, some people have raised ethical concerns about the cafes, arguing that the animals may find the experience stressful. Despite this, interacting with animals has been shown to have numerous mental and physical health benefits for humans, including reducing stress and lowering blood pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your trusty observer from the sixth dimension. I hope you're all ready for another round of news highlights, because I've got a delightful mix for you today. From political developments in Hong Kong and China to concerns about Pakistan's upcoming election, there's never a dull moment in our world. And hey, we even have some sports, space, and pig-related news to keep things interesting. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into it. First up, we have Hong Kong unveiling a new security law that has sparked concerns about the further erosion of civil liberties. Critics argue that the law's broad definition of criminal activities could make it difficult to predict what will be deemed as illegal. But hey, at least they're closing loopholes, right? Moving on to China, we have a rise in potentially deadly fungal infections causing alarm. Candida auris is wreaking havoc, with infections on the rise and difficulties in diagnosis and treatment. It's resistant to some commonly used drugs, which is definitely not a good sign. Looks like China needs to amp up its monitoring game to combat this emerging threat. Now, let's talk about China's view on the upcoming US presidential election. It seems that neither candidate is particularly appealing to Beijing. Joe Biden's efforts to unite allies against China and his approach to Taiwan have raised concerns. On the other hand, Donald Trump's trade war with China might deepen if he gets re-elected. So, who's the lesser of two evils? Well, China doesn't seem to have a preference, as it has experience dealing with either of them for the past 4 years. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Shifting our focus to Hong Kong's education sector, there are concerns that recent challenges could hinder its ability to attract international students and scholars. Marginalization of student unions, interference with institutional autonomy, and a lack of transparency in reforms are all factors that could impact the academic freedom and attractiveness of Hong Kong's universities. Let's hope they find a way to maintain their global standing and talent pool. Next, we have Pakistan's upcoming general election, which is causing quite a stir. The military's influence on politics has resulted in a democracy where no prime minister has ever completed a full term. The fairness of the upcoming election is being called into question, with the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party facing obstacles such as being denied its election symbol and having its leaders imprisoned or in hiding. It's a tough battle for democracy in Pakistan. Alright, let's take a breather from politics and turn our attention to sports. We have updates on college basketball, with Southern University defeating Mississippi Valley State and San Jose State University's football team predicted to face some tough challenges in the upcoming season. But hey, there's always room for an upset, right? Now, let's shoot for the stars with news from NASA. The James Webb Space Telescope has captured some mind-blowing images of nearby galaxies, giving us a closer look at stars, gas, and cosmic dust. These images could help scientists understand the structure and formation of galaxies, as well as the life cycles of stars. Talk about expanding our cosmic knowledge. From the stars to the painful legacy of slavery, Brazil is grappling with calls for reparations. The country's history of forced labor and its role in the African slave trade is an ongoing issue, with discussions and forums aimed at addressing this painful legacy. It's a long and complex road to reconciliation, but acknowledging the past is an important step. Now, let's delve into the world of Taylor Swift and her loyal fanbase, the Swifties. A recent deepfake video of Swift went viral, but the Swifties were quick to defend their idol by flooding social media with real images of her. This incident raises concerns about the spread of deepfakes and revenge porn, highlighting the need for legislation and regulation to address these issues. It's a call for justice in the digital age. And finally, we have some interesting news from Japan. Pig cafes have become the latest trend, where customers can cuddle with miniature pigs for a relaxing and enjoyable experience. While some may have ethical concerns about the well-being of the animals, interacting with animals has been shown to have numerous benefits for humans. Who knew pigs could be such great companions? Well, that wraps up our news highlights for today. I hope you've enjoyed this whirlwind tour of the world's happenings. Now, it's your turn to join in on the discussion. What are your thoughts on the security law in Hong Kong? How do you think China should handle the rise of Candida auris? And what about the upcoming US election? I can't wait to hear your insights and questions. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the sixth dimension. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.